I have Elkie, and we have Buddy, and we have Natasha, who want to come and help us do the news. Are you going to lie down and behave? All right, that's good. Welcome to my office. I know a lot of times Stewart records in his office. Well, actually, his office is my office, but you never get to see my work area very often. That's usually because it's a mess, but because we are organizing October in my blog, I have actually cleaned off my desk and gotten everything in order because I am organizing my mind. So, with that said, welcome. This is Janet Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow with an October edition of our news podcasts. I have lots of fascinating things to tell you. As you know, I always look for the things that are showing you a little bit of the trends and how everything is going. These are my watchdogs barking because if they hear any little noise inside or outside, they let me know. Because, again, they're Norwegian elkhounds and they're watchdogs. Natasha, however, will open the door and invite you in to take whatever you like. So it's a good thing I have the elkhounds as well. Alright, so we have our news for the day or for the week. Lots of interesting things going on. The first story I want to talk to you about is an artist who paints with his own blood. For the past 10 years, there is an artist who has been painting dramatic and graphic works designed to get the heart pumping using his own plasma as the paint. Mr. Castilla said that I went through many painful circumstances to begin using my blood. It did not happen just by accident. Apparently he started using it in pen and ink drawings, and then he began making portraits, and now he says some of his paintings are up to 7 feet tall, and these can take up to 30 vials of blood. Now, some of these paintings can cost as much as $26,000, and you wonder who would buy these kind of paintings. Well, not only people who are interested in the macabre, but also because this has to do with frequency. And frequency is what I'm going to be talking to you about in my webinar next week, Understanding Frequency, because this is what, again, the Illuminati use against you, and what you need to learn to create your own recipes using frequency for yourself for positive advancement. Speaking of blood, zombies. Canada has produced a public service announcement about CPR using zombies. Now again, I watched this through. It's called The Undead, and it is really to me kind of a scary premise because it shows a young woman running from zombies who eventually she kills, and after she kills them, then they kill her and they turn her into a zombie. So the message is CPR makes you undead. Now to me I don't think so, but again, very interesting imprinting here. And moving along, we have past life exists. That's an interesting thought for mainstream media because we have a Dr. Brian Weiss who was on Fox and Friends discussing his new book, Miracles Happen. And he explains if you feel close to people in your life, it's possible that you had past lives with them. Now, this is not something that we normally see on mainstream television. This is something that is usually hidden in the National Enquirer, but again, this is being brought forward to you. Now, of course, here at expansions.com, we go the step further and we actually talk to you about simultaneous existence. But I'm sure that's a little bit too far-fetched for mainstream at this point, so they're at least bringing forward the idea of other life streams because, again, they're working on merging multiple life streams together, and eventually this will come up for you as well, but for now they're going to start bringing up past life existence. And as you already know, they're also talking about a lot of things about aliens and UFO news. For example, the Air Force is now telling you that even though they denied the existence of UFOs back in the 1950s, it was also secretly trying to build its own supersonic flying saucer. That's right, it tells you now that in 1956, the United States Air Force contracted a Canadian company called Avro Aircraft Limited in Ontario to construct a circular craft that could take off and land vertically, as well as potentially reach a top speed of Mach 4, fly as high as 100,000 feet over a range of 1,000 nautical miles. Now again, if they're telling you this, it's probably already happened. This was actually dubbed Project 1794. What you want to understand again is that they are allowing you now to be let in on their secrets. So these are secrets, which I'm going to tell you some more about here. However, before we get there, there is now a nationally renowned astronomer named Derek Pitts who says that it might be time for a thorough study of unexplained aerial phenomena. He says, let's pursue an investigation of UFOs so we can identify where these alien spacecraft are coming from. And if that is said, then people will say, what? I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But, he says, if you say, let's look at the possibilities, are that, well, at one time there were environments where life possibly could have developed on Mars. Here we have the Mars connection again. Then everybody says, oh yeah, I want a piece of that. So that's an unquote from him. He is a senior scientist and chief astronomer at the Franklin Institute Science Museum in Philadelphia. He is also a NASA Solar System Ambassador. Now, what does that mean? I looked that one up, and apparently this is a person who does public outreach in their area. They go to various schools and other places where people want to be educated about the NASA programs. But to me, NASA Solar System Ambassador could really mean other things which are hidden behind the scenes, which they're not ready to tell you yet, but they are imprinting you with this specific title. There was also another headline which caught my eye. It was huge, big bold print. Politicians talking about UFOs and aliens. Well, when I went to that article, it talked about the old. Again, they always bring up things in the past, 20, 30, 40, and so on years ago rather than the current. But because they're still bringing this up, they don't let things die, and because we know that they plan for decades. So these have been set up for decades to begin to imprint you. They begin to remind you again that several world leaders, including Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan, reported seeing unexplained things in the skies. And of course, they also brought up about JFK. And there is, of course, that theory that says that he was actually killed because he was going to bring some of this information forward into the public, which, as you know, is not true. But they want to make you think certain things or lead the conspiracy theorists in another direction. And in the same article says others made it clear when they entered the Oval Office that they wanted all the files on what the military might know about alien visitations. And again, this is just to make people think that something is being done when in reality, of course, it's not until they're ready. Now, the other secret thing that they're unveiling to you, well, there's a couple things, but here's the next one. NASA now says that there is a giant unused rocket that's been sitting in the underground bunker for the past 50 years in Florida. So again, they're telling you about things buried deep in the earth. Again, they're imprinting you with secrets. That word is all over the place. So watch for that and know they're telling you something. But again, the tip of the iceberg. Ghost trees. Now here's another one for you about imprinting you about seeing things in the sky, about astral and so forth. There's an Australian artist named Craig Walsh that created a series of haunting 3D projections to illuminate the trees of Sydney's Hyde Park South. He says, quote, I am interested in representing histories in a space which don't normally get represented in monuments. So he created this project which is called Emergence, and it involves a series of ghostly, this is quote, ghostly, colorful projections of artists' faces on nearby trees. So what do you think about this? Again, it's another imprinting for you. Now, those of you who attended our conference this past, well, I guess it's not this weekend, a weekend ago, it's hard to believe that a whole week has passed, but where we talked about Pyramid Storehouse of Knowledge, which was absolutely fascinating. The information that came forward, the exercises that we did, and of course Dr. Samir Osmanagic talking about his pyramid discoveries was absolutely fascinating. So watch for more of this to happen. And I like to think that the work that Dr. Osmanagic is doing is helping to bring this forward because, again, once you open up your own hidden pyramid, your own hidden storehouse of knowledge, then what happens? The outer world has to reflect that back. That is universal law. And of course, we did announce that in June of 2013, we will be taking a group of people, a tour, so you're welcome to join us, any of you out there that want to go, to Bosnia to explore the wonderful hidden histories that Dr. Osmanagic is bringing to the world. And of course, those of you who know, his story is very similar to ours, where he was actually made fun of. People say, oh, he's only out for the money, blah, blah. The same things that have been said about us have been said about him. So I'm hoping that we can get part of this up for the public viewing of his talk, because it's absolutely fascinating. Anyway, back to what I have to tell you. It says that Mexican archaeologists have now determined that the ancient Mayas built watchtower-style structures atop the ceremonial ball court at the temples of Chichen Itza to observe the equinoxes and solstices. Before, they were just telling you that this was a ceremonial ball court. So now they're actually telling you that this has something to do with astronomy. This is a big departure from what they had said before about the Mayan ball court. So watch for more information about pyramids, and if you can, join us for our 2013 journey to the Bosnian pyramids, because again, your life will be changed, our life has been changed, because we are revealing inside of ourselves our own hidden storehouse of knowledge, which of course is represented in hyperspace by the pyramid, which is why you are fascinated and always have been by pyramids. Don't waste your money, don't go to Egypt, come with us to Bosnia. Okay, now again, we've been talking to you about the mammoth trend. Now we find an 11-year-old boy who has found an amazingly preserved mammoth in Russia. So watch again for the cloning, for the Ice Age, all these things they're beginning to imprint you with. They're bringing back a variety of animals. They're bringing this into the forefront, because remember, we are not in global warming, we are in global cooling. Okay, next we have womb transplants. Yes, that's right, womb transplants as a solution for infertility. We are transplanting everything, all kinds of body parts. We're transplanting faces, we're transplanting scalps, all kinds of things that we've not heard before. Now they're telling us that wombs transplanting will be the next thing, so that women can be continued to be fertile all through however long they want to be. And the interesting thing is, again, this will also help with, of course, the artificial wombs which are being planned. Now, scientists have telling us along these same lines, you may have seen this article, that mouse skin cells can be turned into eggs that produce baby mice. Now this technique, they say, if successfully applied to humans, could someday allow women to stop worrying about the ticking of their biological clocks, and listen to this, and perhaps even help couples create quote-unquote designer babies. It could mean the reproductive clock does not tick for women anymore. So that is going to have some biomedical implications as we move along. All right, now let's go into programming. World's tallest Ferris wheel is soon going to be built in New York. And yes, Ferris wheels, remember, goes round and round and round and round, keeps you in that loop. That is going to be built in New York. It says it's going to be 625 feet tall, 5 feet taller than the planned high roller wheel for the Las Vegas Strip, 84 feet taller than the Singapore Flyer, and it will carry over 1,400 passengers at a time. It's expected to have 36 capsules, each able to carry up to 40 passengers. Now this is similar to the London Eye, which, as many of you may know, is one of the largest Ferris wheels in the world. This particular one is going to begin construction in 2014 with the goal of opening by the end of 2015. And again, interestingly enough, the London Eye is again about programming, and there was a lot of discussion about Ferris wheels during the Olympics. On with programming, we have Judy Garland's Wizard of Oz Ruby Slippers. Now, why the Wizard of Oz Ruby Slippers? Why do we have to make a big deal about these? Why do we have to announce them in the news all the time? Because it has to do with programming. The Judy Garland Wizard of Oz Ruby Slippers is going to travel from Washington, D.C., again here we have London, to London's Victoria and Albert Museum. Now, those of you who attended our conference on pyramids, you know that in London there is a section that is a city-state. Washington, D.C. is a city-state, and the third part of that triangle is the Vatican, which is also a city-state. So I wonder if they're going to be going there as well. Now listen to this. The Smithsonian, where they're housed, plans to hold a departure ceremony on Tuesday. Again, why? Why do we care? That Tuesday is today that I'm filming. I'm not sure when you'll be able to see this. But why do we need a departure ceremony? You want to, again, remember frequency. And this is what the Ruby Slippers are about. This is what Judy Garland is about. So again, if you want to hear more about programming and frequency, sign up for my webinar this coming week on understanding frequency. I'm going to tell you some more of my secrets that now can become your secrets. Slavery. Of course, we all know this is, again, tied into the zombie craze and everything else that's going on, and that most people out there are unwittingly slaves to the Illuminati. They have a victim mentality mind pattern. Now, we want to again bring this forward into the public eye. Jon Hubbard, a Republican member of the Arkansas House of Representatives, has written a new book. And in this book, he says that slavery was a blessing for African Americans, among other questionable statements. He says that, he makes a series of radically charged statements in the self-published books, saying that integration of schools is hurting white students, that African slaves had better lives under slavery than in Africa, that blacks are not contributing to society, and that a situation is developing in the United States which is similar to, quote, again, Nazi Germany, which of course we always have to throw that out there. So, again, we are bringing this forward, and to me this is starting, again, division. If they can divide the races, that's what they want to do, and that's why they throw these things out there. So keep that in mind. Speaking of Nazi Germany, speaking of evil, which again, to me, some of these statements are evil, we have on the internet going around the 10 evil human experiments. Again, these are more of their secrets. These range from the 1940s, when the U.S. infected Guatemalans with sexually transmitted diseases to study the progression. This, the United States finally apologized for in the year 2010. In the 1950s, they injected cancer cells into prisoners to test vaccines, as well as they gave to non-consenting adults in supposedly CIA safe houses LSD to see the effects on them in the 60s and 70s. So they keep going back and they keep revealing to you these secrets. They're telling you, yes, they did experiment on humans, and they're going to eventually release more and more about the mind control experiments because they want you aware of what's going on. It is no longer something that the public is not supposed to know about because they want you to participate and be a part of it. Now, many of you are also aware, who've been watching my news, about the breast. I keep talking to you about the breast. Well, now, what did I tell you in the beginning? That's kind of old news, old hat, dull and boring, right? So I'm not going to talk to you about that. Now I'm going to talk to you about testicles, because I want the guys to have their share as well. That's my fax machine. Somebody important, I'm sure, is faxing me something. It's probably about a free vacation in Hawaii for only $295. If I call within the next hour, I'm a winner. Okay, testicles. A young man of 25, this was recently in the news, was diagnosed with testicular cancer and subsequently died. Now this was kind of one of those things they kind of threw out there, but it reminded me, remember, of when they were doing all the hysterectomies on women back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and so forth. Hysterectomies were the big type of surgery for women. In my mind, they were taking out, and I'll say plucking out, all those uteruses, so now they could talk to you about womb transplants and artificial conception. Okay, next, what do we find? We find breast cancer. Now, breast cancer is the big thing. And what are they doing with women? First of all, they took their breasts off. Then they told them, okay, we can just, as the women protested, obviously, now we can do lumpectomies. We can just take out a little bit, surprise, surprise. Now they're doing with preventative breast cancer. So they're now women whose mothers or a relative had breast cancer. Now they're just saying, oh, I went in for elective surgery to have my breasts electively removed. So now I have no more breasts, but I'm so happy about that. All right, now they're going to go for the guys. You watch. testicular cancer. Oh, by the way, when they do a mammography and they smash the women's breasts in between the plates to see if they have cancer, a lot of women, of course, say that causes cancer. What's going to happen next? Do you think they're going to start smashing the testicles in between these plates and the penises in between the plates so they can find cancers there, so they can lop those organs off the men and start studying those? Okay, now this is making my cameraman very uncomfortable, I will tell you, and it's too bad Stewart's not here because I'm sure he would be making all kinds of funny faces. Now, I also saw recently, here within the last week, an NFL player who recently lost one of his testicles in a football game injury. So they're letting you know, they're bringing this back up, and finally, what do we have? Apparently, an April Fool's joke turned real. Wynn Coop Brewing Company in Denver, Colorado, has now released bull testicle beer. That's right, Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout for real. Apparently, they made an kind of a spoof on this back in April about the Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout beer. But now it's real. You can actually get this. It's going to be made available beginning Monday, October 8th, which was yesterday here. The beer will also be available at the next Great American Beer Festival, October 11th through the 13th in Denver. So with that said, I want you to enjoy your beer. I want you to enjoy your life. I want you to correct your mind patterns so that none of this stuff that's out there affects you. I want you to understand frequency, which is why I'm doing the webinar on frequency. And because this is October, and this is for those of you who you live in the countries where they have Halloween, this is about false fear. So I'm also doing a webinar on removing your own false fears. There's a lot of stuff going on at expansions.com. So I want you to keep watching what's happening with our site because we are keeping you informed about what's going on out there so that you can maintain a safe mind pattern in an unsafe world. Stewart is in Russia. He's making some updates on his Facebook page from time to time, so be sure you check that out. Of course, he will be in Bangkok, Thailand. I've had people requesting him there on Facebook, so you need to watch the site to see where in the world we're going to be next. And of course, we have a magnificent holiday planned for you in Suriname if you want to do something different, if you want to do something fun, if you want to get some sun, if you want to shake your life up a little bit, join us for the holiday in Suriname. We currently have it on sale, our seminar pricing 2 for 1 for the Suriname holiday for our January Oversoul Hyperspace Extravaganza. If you want to go, you can bring a friend along for free. So 2 for 1 for the next 2 or 3 days. I want you to contact Patricia, events@expansions.com if you're interested in that. And we are opening for 2013 our Oversoul Mastermind Group applications. If you're really into this kind of work and you really want to grow, that's the place for you to be. Our membership side is growing constantly. We have new plans. I can't tell you what those are until about the first of the year, but my webmaster was here from Italy. We spent 2 weeks figuring out what we're going to do next, or should I say, figuring out how to implement them, because this has been in the works actually for a year. So lots of changes are going to happen on the website. I also have something that I'm going to put on the public side that I haven't done before. So watch the home page. That's changing as well. So lots of excitement going on at expansions.com. We appreciate your financial support because that allows us to support you. As you know, just like it was kind of funny listening to Dr. Osmanagic talk, because he, as you know, lives in Houston, Texas, and has a business there which he uses to help support his project in Bosnia. And what did people say about him when he went back to Bosnia? Even though he's Bosnian born, they said, you are here to make money. Well, of course he wants to make money. He wants to make money so he can invest it back in his project and give back to the public. That's his passion. Yes, we want to make money. We want to make a ton of money. We want you to make a ton of money. And if you watched on our website the webinar on how you can do that in our gold membership side, we have people every day making testimonials on this site, how they're increasing their money stream. And as we increase our money stream, what do we do with it? We reinvest it back into our we reinvest it back into our website, and we give more back to you. So thank you so much for your financial support. However that happens, if you can't do that, join Royal Blue. Violet membership, only $8 a month. If you want to give up one of your hamburgers at McDonald's For a lunchtime, which costs you about $8, one hamburger meal, you can join our membership side. You can support expansions.com, so again we can continue giving back to you. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for participating. Share the site, pass it around, let everybody know that these tools and techniques work. Remember, Stewart and I are real people, and we give you real solutions to issues that we ourselves are either moving through or have moved through, and that's how and why we can help you. So thank you for joining me. I look forward to our next visit. Janet Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow for expansions.com. Bye-bye now.